Hey, also, are you in a space today where you're wondering what it means exactly to honor people? Like you've heard the whole honor your mother and father, heard the whole you should place honor on people, but you haven't really gotten the instructions for what honor looks like. In fact, maybe you were taught that honor looks like letting those people do whatever they want in your life. Honor looks like giving them full access to you and just allowing them to do things with no consequence. Or maybe you've learned that honor looks like, placing them above all else and listening to their advice and understanding that what they say goes no matter how old you are, no matter what age they are, that you're continuing to just listen to everything they're saying and taking their advice as if it is, Bible. But here's the thing about honoring that I believe that we've gotten misconstrued. Honor doesn't mean to place somebody in an elevated space in your life. Honor also doesn't mean to give them the ability to dictate what you're doing and to give them full access to all the information of your life and full power in telling you the trajectory that your life should go. In fact, you can honor your children, you can honor the next door neighbor, you can honor people who you would never put in that type of hierarchy over your life. So if you can honor anyone, then how do we honor people and get rid of those old ideals that we have of what honor actually means? Because I don't know about you, but I'm not letting the next door neighbor tell me how to run my household, but I can also honor that next door neighbor. And so when we think about honoring people, there are some truths to honoring that I think that we need to consider. Now, honoring also means being kind to those people. Honoring also means showing them that you respect them and that you consider them. And honoring also means understanding that you have to, like, if they're speaking, you listen to them. If you're speaking, they listen to you. There's a reciprocal relationship happening there. And honoring also means that you hold them to the standards that you would hold a person of honor to. And I think sometimes we tell ourselves that we need to honor certain people because of their titles, but when they're not acting honorable and they're not honoring God, sometimes you can honor a person without always honoring the way that they're behaving in that particular moment, because the action isn't honorable even if you're honoring the person. So something that you can do to make sure that you're honoring the people in your life, and this can pertain to children, it can pertain to the neighbor, and it can pertain to your closest relative or even the relative that's furthest away. We can honor people by expressing without trepidation the way that we experience them. So without accusations, without demoralizing, without having to be ugly and accusatory, we can say, this is the way that I experience you. And we can also be honoring of people by allowing them to have their own experience with you. And I think the trouble comes when we think about honoring our parents, right? A lot of times that's really difficult for people who have parents who are not acting in honorable ways. But a way that you can honor people no matter what place that they are in their lives and no matter what place you are in your life is to be able to tell them how you experience them without trying to make them feel guilty or shamed for the way that you experience them. And then hold true to that statement. Like, here's how I feel when you're in the room. Here are the things that I love about you. Here are the things that I wish that you would consider, because this is how I experience you in the space. Sometimes people don't know. They don't realize it. They don't realize that oftentimes their behavior makes you feel discluded because that was never their intention. But when you bring it to them and you do it in an honorable way, they might just see that that's the way that people around them may receive their intention, even if it wasn't the way that they hoped that it would be received. And then in the same token, you have to allow them to have their own experience of you. So if they feel a certain way about the way that you respond to them or act to them or feel toward them, they're allowed to have that opinion too. And it's honorable to say, here's how I experience you, and I understand that that's the way you experience me. It's also okay to feel as if the way that you are acting toward that person, the way that you are interacting with that person, is the way that you want to and should be interacting with them, even if they're not experiencing it in the way that you would deem positive, because it is okay for you to set boundaries that other people don't like. And so if you've come to them and you've honored them by telling them the way that you experience them, and they have been honored by being able to share their experience with you, then the most honorable thing that you can do for those people, and a lot of times these type of advices are for the difficult people in our lives, the best thing you can do is to assess the situation, determine their access point, and then make sure to check yourself into keeping them in that access point. Because I think sometimes what we do is we have a vision for what that title looks like. So we have a vision for what the title of mother looks like. And we really want that person in our life to act the way that our vision says that they should act. We have this expectation for them. And then when they don't, we still give them the access points of a person who is acting that way, even though when we interact with them, it's not giving us the same energy, vibes, and aftermath of that interaction. And so we have to say, okay, I have to get real with myself. I have to assess the information that is actually in front of me, not my fairy tale vision of what this is like. And the way that I honor this person with the title that they have and the way they're behaving with that title is to determine their access point to me and my life and to keep strong on what that access point looks like. So that could be like, I'm only going to have phone conversations with them because when they're around, they act a certain way that I don't want around me and that I don't want around my children. But I still want to be in contact with this person. So I'm going to honor them because I've shared my experience. I've allowed them to share their experience. And now I'm creating an access point that I feel comfortable with boundaries around it to be able to continue the relationship with that person. Honoring doesn't look like letting them get away with whatever they're doing, suppressing your own emotions, and just saying because they have this title, they're entitled to all of these XYZ things in my life. But honoring does look like saying, I've communicated my experience, they've communicated theirs, and now there's this access point that I'm unwilling to move from, I'm unwilling to deviate from because nothing has changed with the way I experience them. Nothing has changed with the way that they experience me. So if you're in a space today where you're wondering, how do I honor the people who I don't necessarily feel are behaving in an honorable way? I would encourage you to think about communicating your experience, allowing them to communicate their experience, and then from that, determining their access point and sticking to it so that you can continue the relationship without feeling like you have to suppress your own emotions or have outlandish expectations for them. If you were able to resonate with this message, please go and like and subscribe to all of my channels on social, and also share this message with somebody that you feel will need this message to break free from the bondage that they're experiencing, because we know that knowledge gained and kept to ourselves is selfish, but knowledge gained and shared with the world could just be the catalyst that they need to break free from the bondage that they're experiencing. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.